Hi, everyone. My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Zeeve. And today we have a very exciting AMA. I'm personally and from Zeeve perspective, we are quite excited about what MakaChain is building. So before I give the stage to Tomas and Chad to talk about MakaChain, uh, today we are going to talk about one of the most pressing issue in the Web3 space, which is the issue of gas. Now, if we talk about why gas even existed in the first place, I believe that gas has been a very elegant solution, to prevent spam because every action has got a cost, and then fair resource pricing where users are paying for computation and storage. It's like a pay-per-use model, and then permissionless execution. No central party is deciding on the priority, and there are clear incentive models built around to do that. But and I think gas has worked quite well for most of the use cases and crypto native users. But now we are talking about a world where blockchain has moved from experiment to more uh, critical products, especially in the DeFi and the TradeFi space. And then, the whole enterprise adoption that we are seeing through RWA, through stablecoins. I think the whole concept of gas is creating second order problems. And there have been quite a few point solutions in the past, whether it be account abstraction, solving for UX, or some kind of predictability or some kind of accounting. But today we have MakaChain, which is solving for all of them with a very exciting and innovative gas model. So first of all, I would like to welcome Tomas and Chad on the CMA. Um, Before we deep dive, I would love to, know about your journey, how you got to start MakaChain, and how your journey has been so far. Starting with you, Thomas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi. Um, yes, I started in crypto since 2014, mining Bitcoins. And then me and my team, we built a trading solution. Few years ago, oh, not few, five plus years ago, me and Chad, we met to a project in the pharmaceutical industry. And then we decided to start exploring crypto as a solution for that business. And a couple years ago, Chad who actually was the one who pushed me, pushed the team to start doing or start thinking about what happened right now. What happened right now is stable tokens on the rise. You know, what is the problem? What kind of solutions we can bring to the market? And that's how we started MakaChain. But I like the ecosystem. I believe that everything happens for a reason, like you say, gas fees. Gas fees in the past was not a problem because in reality, the inventor of gas fee was Ethereum, and they brought a solution to the market allows anybody to build any type of cryptocurrency thanks to the smart contracts that they build. So easy because it was kind of be hard for to build a next Bitcoin on the blockchain without Ethereum. So the brought a solution. In the past, most likely all the companies wants to have a token that is has a fluctuation. So the idea was to promote that token to raise the price and everybody make some money or big money. But now it's a stable tokens. Blockchain is being used as a payment solution in the market. So that's where we are right now. And me and Chad, we've been working together, pushing the product and let people know what it is, what kind of solution we can bring to the market.
No, I think that sounds very exciting, and thanks for sharing your journey, Thomas. So, Chad, we would love to know about you and a bit about especially the problem part. What felt so fundamental that you decided that you need to create MakaChain.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Ravi, for having us. And I would say, brief background was in the tech space in the 90s. Guy I worked with pitched this idea to me. It ended up being Tether. I was too confused at the time to understand what he was doing. Yeah, he sold that to Bitfinex. I got into more traditional infrastructure, but invested in blockchain projects. The issue, or I would say one of the main reasons why we came up with MakaChain was due to 93% of the world's population still does not use crypto. And the reason being, there's a lot of confusion and complexity to that. And a lot of that's just simply gas fees. People are scared. And to get mass adoption, we know we needed to create something where it would be seamless. And so that's what we've done.
Got it. No, I think that's a very interesting point you have mentioned. We understand that from a user perspective, if we actually want to get more than 7% adoption or 7% of the global users to get into Web3 or hold crypto, we need to abstract quite a few pieces. And I think gas is one of the most critical piece. So now getting into a deep dive of this whole concept of universal gas. So one of the most distinctive idea I read about MakaChain is that you say the gas token is whatever you have in your wallet, right? So Thomas, can you explain how this actually works in practice?
Yes. So our blockchain is zero gas fees. Even though for security, we still have to have a token involved in the business or in the blockchain. We call it Enfield. That token has no price. Nobody needs to buy. Appears in your wallet as soon as you deposit any crypto. So in MakaChain, if I'm a customer, I download my MakaChain account and I put a 10 USDT. In that second, show up something called Enfield. Enfield is the token that is going to secure all the transactions that happens on the blockchain. But you don't need to buy, you don't need to sell, doesn't have any price, show up without telling you. That covers the security part of the protocol. For the other side, I send you USDT. When I do that transaction, 10 cents is going to be deducted on the transaction. It's a transaction fee. 10 cents per transaction, never more, never less. If you send Ethereum, it's going to be 10 cents in Ethereum. If you send through the chain any other token, we charge 10 cents on the token that you transact. So it's good for regular business because they know exactly what it is or how much is going to be the fee. Doesn't create friction. And if I owe you $100, I need to send $100 .10 cents. So you can get $100 and I can pay my fee. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely clear. The way you have described and the way you have designed this is actually very clean. And the whole idea is to abstract the gas from the users and introducing a new token which does not have any value. Still having this token in the architecture means that the core utility of gas token, which is to prevent spam, is taken care of. And at yet the same time, you are providing predictability of the price and a better experience to the users. So I have a follow-up question. So Chad, why do you believe that eliminating gas token is not just a user experience improvement, but more of a structural change for Web3 adoption?
Most of it's my last answer is everyone now, I would say most of the people on this Ask Me Anything, they're already familiar in the Web3 space. And if you kind of refer it to a baseball analogy, we're kind of in the first inning out of 9. Now people are realizing that this isn't going away. This is here. But if you look at traditional banking apps in the Web 2 space, they're seamless, they're easy, and the user interface needs to be the same. And so it's critical at this time to advance in the user interface on the hardware and the software, especially the software, to create this mass adoption.
Got it. No, absolutely. So, talking further about this, the whole concept of gas anxiety, today we know some of the challenges that we see. If there's a congestion on the network, the gas price itself may vary a lot. And sometimes, there are a lot of other challenges like failed transactions, etc. And then that creates a sort of anxiety for a user, especially new users into the Web3 space. So, from your experience, why has gas become such a fundamental blocker for mainstream and enterprise adoption? You know, in the entire landscape, we have account abstraction, we have quite a few other pieces, but still, why we are struggling for a massive adoption, especially from the enterprise angle.
Well, couple of things. If we go back to the first one, let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum, the amount of transactions that happens on the Ethereum network per second are not too high. So the more close to that number, the price of the transaction increase on the gas fees, because they want to take the little guys out of the equation. So I'm not going to send $20 when my gas fees is 25. So that's, they use gas fees as a way to protect their blockchain against the amount of transactions that happen per second in the daily basis. So that's one thing. The new blockchains create a way that they can be scalable. So if I say that I have 4,000 transactions per second, I can increase anytime I want it, 4,000 more transactions per second. Imagine that in Visa, MasterCard world, they're doing around 60,000 transactions per second. And we only work with the 7% of the market. Imagine when we get the 50% of the market. So I believe gas fees is a protection for two different points. One is hacking, and the other one is amount of transactions. We take that barrier, but we have to be very conscious that we have to have a lot of transactions per second, so we never get to that problem, and the scalability has to be there. That's why hosting is a very important key element inside this ecosystem, and choosing you guys, one of the hosting companies, is a key element on the business. And we didn't choose you because we got introduced by somebody. We just choose you because you are a well-known name in the market. Is a hosting company. So we have to see gas fees, transactions per second, hosting, location. What is your market? What is your hosting? That's important. And that's what we are today. And we believe that we already know what are the problems, what are going to be the challenges in the future, and we prepare for that.
Got it. No, I think that's super interesting. So you mentioned about one having high transaction throughput, which again is definitely a challenge for quite a few chains like Ethereum. Then you also mentioned about the gas cost, making it more predictable, the 10 cents model that you have, where regardless of the congestion or the volatility, you're still charging 10 cents for every transaction. So from user perspective, I believe the major use case that we are today seeing is the stable coins and the new payment rails that are being built around stable coins. And this is one area where we are seeing not just financial institutions or fintechs, but a lot of enterprises are getting into stablecoin based use cases, because it touches upon payment, touches upon pretty much everything in the in the finance domain. So how does this change for whether it be merchants or payment processors or enterprises who want to, let's say, run their payroll using stablecoins?
So it's every country's different. I gonna assume that most of us here are outside of the U.S., but in the U.S. there's large, Fortune 100 companies creating their own stable tokens, and these are not just in the finance or crypto space. These are companies like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but the largest Home Depot-like company, their competitor. And we're partnered with eStable, a Tether portfolio company, where they're working with provinces throughout Argentina to have their stable token, the Arce, for national provincial payroll, for all the government workers and public sector workers in those areas. And so taking out the gas fee and having their stable token tied directly to the bank, you're just, as we all know, you're cutting out the intermediary. And so it's a lot quicker, seamless transaction.
Got it. So now a bit distinction with, today we are seeing that enterprises who are running use case on blockchain, they typically look for account abstraction. And as we understand, account abstraction removes the gas from the user interface, but gas still resides in the system. So and in the back, there is still gas, and the whole economics work based on the gas. So why do you believe that the MakaChain model is more conducive for enterprises?
Because the gas, we have a gas just because it's a protection for the blockchain, has nothing to do with the businesses. And businesses doesn't want to pay a gas fees that doesn't have a set amount or set price, because they're not going to have the accountability. Banks will never use Ethereum network because they're not going to buy Ethereum for 10 cents and then tomorrow is going to be X cents. Impossible for them. They need something that is predictable. In our case, we're scalable. We can increase by 4,500 transactions per second. So when we get close, we can increase it to 4,000 transactions more. That's not an issue of scalability. And then we take the friction of education, because even though gas fees is going to be the only solution that's put in the market, how many people you can educate in 1 month when people doesn't want to be educated? I never saw that Visa or MasterCard has an educational class teaching people how to use your debit card. People just use it. They don't know what is inside. They just use it. So crypto has to be in the same way. Has to be seamless. Has to be the way that nobody knows and everybody's using it. So predictability on the fees, that's a good thing. 10 cents, the price is very fair on the market. And then we're going to come out with products around the blockchain, because the blockchain itself doesn't work. The blockchain has to have products. We have a project that we're working that is e-checks in the United States. We have payment solutions. We have a MakaPay, that is another product. It's a decentralized payment solution, crypto to crypto. And then we're coming out with a wallet. We partner with other wallets. We're telling people that if you want to have MakaChain is a chain inside your wallet, we bring our community to use your wallet. And then partnership like eStable, like Chad says, eStable, that they're gonna launch in each single country in Latin America, the pair of stable tokens to the local currencies. They doing the payment rails too. So payment rails, money remittance is another key factor. US and the rest of the world, how much money being sent to other countries, money remittance. And just because they're using fiat, people's losing between 5 to 8% of the value of their currency just on exchanges. If all that business happens in the crypto arena, we're talking about depreciation of currency by 1% max. That's very important.
No, absolutely. I can't agree more. This is a very critical problem that you are solving. And I'm sure when we talk about, payments, especially on scale, price predictability as well as high transaction throughput will play a massive role. So in terms of, going back to the adoption side, one of the area which enterprises care about is control during extreme situations. And MakaChain include protocol level features like validator safes, fail safes, and the ability to pause the network under critical threats. So, Thomas or Chad, how important were these controls for enterprise partners, and how do you balance, when you have these controls or safety with decentralization?
Let me start off with that, then I'll let Thomas add. And I just want to, on the last point really quick, we created MakaChain not only for the ease of use, no gas fees, but what Thomas mentioned, the remittance and what these other traditional Visa credit card companies are charging, it's highway robbery. And so the mission and purpose behind MakaChain is to help lift these people, a lot of the debanked and underbanked up in life and out of poverty. And you really do that when you look at the millions and billions of transactions that will take place, the amount of additional revenue the consumers or capital that consumers get to keep. And on your last question, working on the security and safety, some of our partners that we've either signed with or negotiations with, what's the first thing that comes on your list, as you know, Doctor, is the security with it. And so the amount of audit reports through hacking and testing and security has to be so bulletproof and able to work with us. But Thomas, why don't you get into the technical component of that?
And another side that I would say is we have to find credible hosting companies like you guys to help us to build the distribution channel of master node operation. That's for one side. For the other side, we have our own decentralization node protocol through 5,000 validator nodes around the globe. But at the same time, is the security is there. I'm not gonna say that nobody's vulnerable, but prevention is a key factor, and we always take in considerations for any new protocol of security efficiency. Be always working hands to hand with hacking to check out all the new products that we're launching, or every time that we catch the blockchain, a new contract, make sure that everything goes smoothly. And we have to have a team 24/7 and people like you running the nodes that secures our business. The protocol itself is already been tested.
No, I think that sounds great. And for the benefit of everyone who is on the call, this is a super important point. Having MakaChain is striving towards more and more decentralization, but yet at the same time ensuring that there are a lot of safety, security, external audits, plus ability to pause the network during critical threats. I think these are very, very important when we talk about larger adoption, because now when we talk about larger adoption, especially considering the newer payment rails, we are talking about users who want everything to be abstracted. They don't want to get into the complexity of understanding Web3 before using crypto. So I think this is super, super important. And thanks, Thomas and Chad. We love working with you guys. And I think it has always been a pleasure to work with innovative companies that are going to scale massively in future. So a bit about the infrastructure, since you touched upon it. You chose Avalanche L1 as a stack. And considering some of the points you have already mentioned about high throughput, and Zeeve being your infrastructure partner. So how critical is reliability, high performance, especially when we talk about enterprise grade expectations?
Yeah, one of the reasons, because right now you can use different blockchains and you can fork them. EVM has to be the standard. So first of all, if anybody wants to build blockchain, they must build an EVM, because EVM will become the standard and it's hard for other chains to be part of the ecosystem when EVM is taking the market. Okay, we see adoption on chains that is kind of impressed how much money, time, and relationship they has to spend if they're not EVM. So first is EVM compatible. So we can bridge for basically 80% of all the chains in the market to our chain. We can do the bridge for any token on all those chains. So that's very important. Avalanche afford because the amount of transactions that can happen on chain, 4,500 transactions per second, plus the ability to scale. And we have that in place. That's another key factor on the business. And then find companies like you guys that knows how to build the hosting facility, take care of the nodes, and secure the transactions for our customers. So that's a very important key. Can be one, no, when you 5, 10, 20, depends on scalability, and then create incentive to the hosting companies. And one of the things that we don't have is we didn't mandate a token that we believe the token in the future will raise the price or whatever. We still have MakaChain on the market that we're not promoting because it's minted every time a transaction happens, the token is minted. So nobody has any ownership of any token, just the market determines how many tokens are going to be based on transactions. So building relations with companies like you and create incentive for anybody to come and secure the transactions in the high level, that's very important for us. And that's something that we have in our roadmap.
So I think that sounds pretty great. So Thomas and Chad, recently I saw you announced a strategic collaboration with eStable.io, which is a Tether portfolio organization. So why is this partnership significant? Can you tell us a bit about this partnership and where stablecoins are headed?
Sure. Yeah, we're very excited. Again, I think everyone on this AMA is familiar with a stable, or at least Tether, which is a stable is a Tether portfolio company. And again, I think Tether, gosh, I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but it was something in the amount of growth or adoption that people are using stable token is growing significantly. You got to keep in mind is that we're rolling it out in Latin America. A lot of people in the West and other developed countries use stable tokens as a form of like a equivalent of a checking account, right? You owe someone some, $100, you send them 100 USDT, 100 USDC. A lot of these other countries, due to the volatility of their currency, they're using stable tokens more as their savings account. And because the fluctuation in their currency pricing. And so being able to roll this out into different currencies where those currencies are backed, just like USDT is backed by treasuries, they'll be backed by treasuries in that local currency. And those treasuries are backed by actually collateral, will help significantly bring on mass adoption, because there'll be incentive for the local population to use it where it's accepted, and they know that it's stable. And so working with MakaChain, why we're working with them is obviously, again, what I mentioned earlier, the ease of use. They don't want someone who is debanked, who is or banked or debanked, to have to go through the process of saying, great, I want to send 10 USDT to someone. They get their stable tokens, and then they have to realize, oh, I got to buy a gas fee. What's the gas fee? Then they have to educate them on the gas fee. Then they have to realize if one gas token is, $8, and they have to buy $8 worth of a gas token to send $10. It just doesn't make sense. And so it really gets back to the ease of use for the masses that are out there. Again, even in the West, a lot of people are still just confused. And once they start with stable tokens, then it's a good segue into the other alts that are out there in the market.
So I would say MakaChain, no education need. We don't have to teach guys token. The other main point, they're going first in Argentina. What is the problem in Argentina? Like Chad said, volatility of demand is a fear of the bank system. You know, people can get freeze their currency on inside their bank accounts. And then 20% adoption. Argentina is one of the countries that 20% of the population is using crypto. And one of the biggest problems that they have, the Chad says, is exchanging USDT for pesos, USDT for pesos all day long because they have fear on the price of their currency. And this is 5 to 10% losing on the value. In crypto, as soon as people realize that is only maybe 0.5% or 1% or 0.20% losing, that I can go from pesos crypto to US dollar crypto, is insane. The adoption will be there with no doubts. And Maca will be the token. And MakaChain, the only thing that we need here is to work harder, because nothing is free in life. We got to work harder. We got to create more partnerships to be more wallets. And adoption will come. Nothing was in one month. So we're ready.
Absolutely. I think you have mentioned a very interesting point, especially, about countries who are still struggling with whether it be, inflationary pressures or financial inclusion. I think having a very robust payment infrastructure will solve a lot of these challenges. And we are glad that, MakaChain is driving in that direction. So thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Chad. It was a fantastic conversation. And I believe MakaChain is tackling one of the most overlooked problems in blockchain adoption, making payments predictable, simple, and usable at scale. So anyone who wants like to check out MakaChain, log on to makachain.io, see their concept, follow them on Twitter. It's a very interesting startup in the payments, and I think they're going to revolutionize the way the payments are being done today, both in Web 2 as well as Web 3 space. And in addition, anyone who is building a Web 3 startup, I think MakaChain can act as a very good case study, as you have gone through the whole conversation. A first principles mindset, a solid experienced team, customer-centric design, and highly innovative token economics, and robust and reliable infra. I think these are recipe for success of any startup. So thanks once again, Thomas and Chad. Thanks for joining us, and thanks everyone for joining us today. And we'll share follow-up links and recording shortly.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Mr. Torto.
Thank you.
For Ravi.